What?
Uh,
I can't do this.
all right. Well,
I'm cringing. I'm cringing at myself. How do you do this? This is why I can't do a YouTube channel because I'll cringe a lot. I'll be like, this is cringy.
all
It's
right.
giving A.
Okay. Well, hello YouTube. Welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video amongst all the other House of the Dragon reviews that are on here by like actual good YouTubers. We are pretty big Game of Thrones fans. We've read the books. I haven't read them that much recently, but Caroline obsesses about the books. And today we're going to be talking about episodes 1 and 2 of season 2, because we didn't do anything on season 1. Maybe we'll go back and revisit them if these do well. And we're going to like give our thoughts on how the season is starting, because I actually think that we disagree on a couple things in these episodes, so we're gonna talk about them and see how it goes. If this video does well, we'll continue doing them. If this video doesn't do well, it'll be a one-off review episode. But so it's up to you guys if you want to see more of this. Anyway, you guys know me, but this is my friend Caroline. We're gonna be reviewing the series together for season 2. Caroline, you want to tell them a little bit about your Game of Thrones love?
No, it's okay. I don't have
Or
anything.
sorry,
You gotta
a
edit
song
that
of
out.
ice
I
and
don't know.
fire.
I have nothing.
A song of ice and fire love.
The series will never get completed.
There's actually a lot of conversation about House of the Dragon kind of like cleansing the bad taste in people's mouth that Game of Thrones left. Do you agree with that, or do you think like the damage is done?
I think that there's really no going back. Like even when they mention the prophecy of the long night, I don't even agree or believe in it anymore. I think it's fully ruined.
No, it's prophesizing Arya. Come on,
yeah,
so simple.
Well, I mean, I think it's gonna be ruined. I think that they're gonna remake the series one day in like 10 or 20 years.
Do you think they're going to do it as a live action, or do you think they're going to do it animation style?
Live action. I think Disney's gonna take it over and realize the cash cow for what it is.
That'll be
and
terrible.
It'll be a rated E for everyone Game of Thrones. No titties at all.
Terrible. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the episodes, yeah? So, episode 1 of season 2 is called A Son for a Son, and it really reflects what terrible thing is going to happen here, because we get introduced to the blood and cheese storyline, which we'll talk about near the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
But we actually start at the wall, which is this our first time seeing the wall in this series? Like, this is our first time going back to the wall?
The first time,
so,
yeah.
I mean, I thought the wall looked beautiful in Game of Thrones, like the CGI and the design they did on that, and so, like, I don't know if they just, like, reused the set, or if they, like, had to do any adjustments to it. I couldn't tell any difference, but it looked really good. Yeah. What I did find hilarious, okay, and as I was rewatching it today, I found this super funny. It is so brutal the way that like Jacaerys walks in and starts just reminding Cregan Stark, being like, remember the time that your grandfather had to swear an oath to my grandfather, because almost like, just so it was like he was trying to present this in the like, oh, we've always worked together and like, we have so much respect for the North, but it's also like a subtle dig at the Starks, like, yeah, you guys were king of the North, but then remember what happened when we killed the dragons.
See, in my opinion, that was too much. I felt like it was a lot of backstory for me. Like, it was very clear that they were trying to set the audience up for a strong understanding. Like, it did not seem like normal dialogue to me. So, I don't know what the writers...
It was 2 years, though. It was a 2-year break between seasons 1 and 2, which is crazy to think about.
Was it really 2 years?
Yeah, it was like a 2-year break.
Okay.
I think so. It might have been like 12 and some change months, but it was not just 1 year like it used to be. It was a couple years. But yeah, we get to see the wall. We get to meet Cregan Stark, who I thought was very Starkish. Like, I feel like all of the Stark men are the same. Yeah. So like he fit the mold of Jon and Ned and Robb. So like I believed him as a Stark. And he's talking about the things that are beyond the wall, which
right, the wild things, right, and but also the what are they called when they're beyond the wall?
The White Walkers.
The White Walkers.
Yeah. Which is, you know, again, kind of rough given what we know about the Long Night and how that plays out.
Well, they brought up the fact that the dragons can't go beyond the wall.
Which, is that true?
It is in the book, but not in the
books,
TV show. Daenerys goes behind the wall like no problem and goes.
Yeah, because Dany just flies over it.
Yeah.
But it's the magic of the White Walkers that the dragons are like, no, we don't want any of that, right? Like, yeah.
But you know, they just forgot about that whole thing.
Just like the Iron Fleet. Yeah, not bitter at all. Not bitter at all about it. But we get to hear, actually, I don't know if we get to hear the Stark words directly, but I mean, obviously Cregan gives the warning to Jacaerys about like what's beyond the wall, and the Knights, this is back when the Night's Watch was like an honorable group and they were sending men from each of the house, which what a drop off in just 100 years.
Yeah.
But like, you know, no one really cares about the Night's Watch in the Game of Thrones series proper, or Song of Ice and Fire. But in this one, it's still respectable. 10 Stark men are being sent every year or something to go guard the wall. So I can't remember why. I want to say that he does say winter is coming, but like you definitely get the sense of the dread. But we don't get to linger there for too long because a letter comes informing Jacaerys that Lucerys is not returning from Storm's End. Yep. Because he was killed by Aemon and Vhagar. Is that the dragon's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big dragon.
The gigantic dragon Vhagar.
And so, you know, when I saw this scene, it reminded me of like when a student is like going through something at home and then they come up to you and they're like, but can I get extra credit on the test now that you know what's happening to me?
Now that my brother's dead, give me an A, please.
Now that my brother's dead, can you please send troops to Rhaenyra's cause? Please? And it is effective.
It is effective. Like, he got 2,000, 3,000 northern men?
2,000, yeah, 2,000 northern troops. So it's very much like, I would have liked, for comedy's sake, I would have liked to see the scene linger. And just be like, Cregan was like, damn, now I gotta send troops.
I feel bad for this poor boy.
Like, I can't just like do nothing now that one of the heirs has been killed. Like, this is not a good look. But from the wall, we cut to Dragonstone with that really interesting scene where Rhaenys lands in the dragon pit at Dragonstone, and Daemon's like, get back on that dragon because we're gonna go kill Aemon or whatever. We're gonna go burn down King's Landing, and then Rhaenys has your favorite line in the series.
The best line ever. Would that you were the king. That's my view. Anytime my boss gonna ask me, hey, can you go do the paperwork? Would that you were the king. Like, yeah,
just not having
What do you even say to that? There's no comeback that is gonna match that energy.
And Rhaenys has been like probably the best Targaryen the entire series. Just like everything she does is so like,
it's just so clear that she should have been the queen over Viserys.
Yeah, she should have been the queen.
She would have done so much better. And Viserys could have done his little like model train, like in the background.
His little model city that gets destroyed in episode 2, which we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so Matt Damon, Jesus Christ, Matt Smith Damon,
who's still ugly. I'm sorry, no, I just cannot see Matt Smith as attractive. He's like Benedict Cumberbatch, just ugly. But like, it's fine.
Is it Damon's look? Like, did you find him as the Doctor attractive, or just like
just Matt
in
Smith
general?
As a person, I don't find
just his face.
Like,
it doesn't
Benedict
work for you.
Cumberbatch looks like he's been put through like a laugh. Have you seen the taffy puller? I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch was put through a taffy puller.
Oh my god, so mean.
I know, yeah. But anyway,
but
great actors, both of them.
Rhaenys is like informing Daemon that is just like, because Daemon has this attitude about Rhaenyra being in mourning, like, yeah, the mother can mourn, but the queen needs to do her job. And then Rhaenys is like, as someone who allegedly lost one of their own kids, actually
2 of them. Because she
Yeah,
lost
two
her
of- well,
daughter Lena and her son.
One for sure. Like Lena's dead, and then
Mhm.
Lenor escaped. Right,
Yeah.
he was on the boat. Like he faked his death, but they don't know that.
Yeah, he's not like having hot gay sex somewhere in the Easter. Isn't
Jesus.
we support him for that?
But yeah, Rhaenys is like, you don't know anything about a mother losing their son.
Mhm.
Like, she needs to see the death with her own, like her own eyes in order to believe it and move forward with the healing process.
Mhm.
But Daemon is like, no. He's power tripping these entire 2 episodes. He's like, I'm going to be in charge now. And I am going to give the order that gives the title of this episode, A Son for a Son. And also throw some shade at Rhaenys for not killing Aegon during his coronation.
Which I understand.
I actually also understand that frustration.
Yeah.
Like, I can see in terms of, like, thematically why Rhaenys didn't kill Aegon II, but,
Yeah.
like, in reality, kill him.
Yeah, just get it over with, you know? You could have saved so much heartbreak and pain by just, I don't know.
Just end it.
By just
End
ending
it,
it
there.
there.
Like,
Yeah.
we also learn where Rhaenys was. Like, Rhaenys was not just chilling in Driftmark,
Mm-mm.
but she's actually been providing aerial support to the naval blockade that's happening due to the fact that, like, war hasn't officially happened, but everyone is like, war hasn't officially been declared, but everyone is like on the precipice of it. Like, everyone knows that it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And so, like, there's Vhagar guarding King's Landing, and then Rhaenys' dragon, and I guess they take shifts because it can't just be Rhaenys the entire time, but they take shifts like flying over the Driftmark fleet because they know that Driftmark is the closest ally of Dragonstone of Rhaenyra.
Right.
So they have to protect that. And Corlys is injured, but I forgot how that happened. I actually forgot how.
That's from
Corlys
the last season, right?
stabbed in the leg, right?
Yeah. But
Oh,
she survived and is rescued by Alan, who is his bastard son.
Mhm.
Because now that Laenor's dead, Corlys is like looking for an heir.
Has that been established in the show?
It
That
has
Alan
not been
is-
established in the show.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I mean, yeah, but like, I know that, but I was like, Alan and then Aaron, right?
Yeah. But
There's a,
Alan and Aaron, yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah,
But
there's
also,
another
like,
one.
he's not about to be like, ooh, look at my new heir when his wife is still alive. I
Right.
think he's waiting. I mean, he can't bring them back until his wife dies. Oh,
Yeah, because
spoiler
Lucerys
alert.
dying.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Lucerys dying, throws everything off.
Right.
Like, so now the plan with what's gonna happen to Driftmark is all up in the air.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that it might be one of Daemon's daughters that are gonna end up being tasked with like marrying someone into it.
True.
At least in the show, because they're the only drift. Well, actually, these ones are actually legitimate children of
Their daughter.
Corlys's line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do the
As a-
Valerians like intermix like the Targaryens do?
They must, because the like, he's married to Rhaenys.
Yeah. But
So- Right.
But Rhaenys is
They're
a
not-
Targaryen.
Right.
Rhaenys.
And he is a Valyrian.
I guess so there's some.
So there's some genetic fixing in the area.
But the Valerians came from the old city of Valyria. And they came
Right.
over and they were like sheep herders or something. Like they weren't famous like the Targaryens were.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think
But they also escaped the Doom, right?
Yeah.
So they're not.
so. They're
like-
the only like a living branch. I don't know.
But they're all wiped out during this event because they don't appear at all in
Mhm.
A Song of Ice and Fire, right?
Like at all.
So, yeah, I mean, even without spoilers, we kind of know what's going to happen to them because they don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
But this is where we get into a very interesting rest of the episode, right? Because, like, they establish what's going on with Rhaenyra, what's going on over there, you know, in Dragonstone, all this stuff. And we actually spent a lot of time this episode in King's Landing.
Mhm.
And I hate to say this, but I think I like Aegon. Like, I think I like Aegon the Second.
But he's a canon. Oh. But he's like the worst. He did try. Like, when he was sitting on the throne, he was trying to be a good person. Like, yes, we shall restore your flock of sheep or goats or whatever it was. And that did, like, warm your heart a little bit. Like, he's trying to step up. But he's like...
He reminds me of early Daenerys, actually. Like, in terms of, like, wanting to be a good person, or, like, wanting to do good by her citizens, but not understanding, like, how to rule, like, where she needs the advice of Jorah and Barristan, and then later Tyrion, to be all like, you can't just be doing that. But instead of, like, good people in his corner, he has Otto Hightower. So, like, it's a little worse. I feel
like Otto's a good ruler. Like, even when Otto was, like, kind of being, yeah, well, you can't restore their sheep. We need those. I mean, it sucks. It's such mean, but, like, he's right. Like, they did promise, like, they need the food. So, like, I see Aegon's point of view that he's trying to be a good ruler, he's trying to be a good guy. But I also see that, like, Otto knows what's up. Otto's not a bad ruler. He's, like, a bad person, but I don't think he's a bad ruler.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like how... Well, we don't know how this is going to play out in the books, because the books are never going to finish.
Ever.
But it's like how Barristan Selmy has a much bigger role in guiding Daenerys in A Song of Ice and Fire, where he's not stabbed in the hallway by a bunch of harpies, despite being one of the greatest knights that ever lived, or whatever, nonsense. But, like, so I wonder how Daenerys is going to develop in that regard, because, like, she develops a lot because of the advisors she has around her, but in the book, she has a different set of advisors than what she has in the show with Tyrion, who's a little bit more morally gray, whereas Barristan Selmy is a little bit more like, this is the right thing to do, this is the wrong thing to do, and you need to stand by whatever is the right thing to do, because I need you to be a good queen. So
Aegon doesn't have that voice of reason.
Yeah, he has Kristen Cole instead. Jesus.
And I just don't know about Alicent. Like, I was gonna wait until we got into episode 2 to talk about this, but she's just an awful mother.
Yeah, no, she's bad.
If you look at all of her children, they're really up.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not okay.
They are not good people. And I don't know what she did, because I feel like she would have been an okay mother, but apparently, like, she really messed up all her kids, and I don't know. I feel like you're right. Aegon does have the chance to be a good person, but he doesn't have good people in his corner.
Yeah, he doesn't have the advisors. He doesn't have the right set of, like, what he needs, genuinely what he needs is a Ned Stark. That's who he needs. Like, he needs somebody who is, like, honorable and will do the right thing, but he's surrounded by Littlefingers, and that's, like, not good for anyone.
No. And the common people think that he's weak, and they're right.
Because, like, what they do, I think, okay, so obviously it's very, I wanted to say telecast, but that's not right, where it's like, you're being told that, like, it's very, like, shown that something bad is going to happen. I can't remember what the name is, but, like,
foreshadowing?
We start getting, foreshadowing is, like, the written term, but it's, like, when, like, in the visual term, there's, like, a word for it, but whatever, yeah. It's very foreshadowed that something bad is going to happen, like, from the beginning, where Aegon is bringing his son to the council meetings, and, oh, look how much he loves his son, and oh, he'd do anything for his son, and like, oh, he loves him so much, and it doesn't matter how crazy his wife is, because he loves that kid, and it's gonna be all right, you know, like, doing so, like, really emphasizing the fact that this boy is important to him. Like, this boy is important to him.
Wow, I love how they give screen time to the characters that are about to die. Like, that's the only time you ever really get to know them. It's when they're gonna die.
And so we actually went through and we did some, like, digging into the episode to be all like, okay, so who's on whose side? So we know the Baratheons are supporting the Greens. We know that the Lannisters are supporting the Greens. That's not really a surprise. They're always on the wrong side. The Hightowers, who are they the Wardens of the West right now?
I don't know.
I think they get replaced by Highgarden later, but I think for now, they're the Wardens of the... Oh, no, not Wardens of the West. Wardens of the South.
Okay.
Because Wardens of the West are the Lannisters.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they got Old Town supporting the king, Hightowers, Baratheons, Lannisters, whereas Rhaenyra has the Starks, the Valerians,
the Eyrie, Jane, Lady Jane.
We haven't heard anything about Dorne yet, what Dorne wants to do.
Yeah.
But Dorne is not... Dorne is part of the Seven Kingdoms already. Yeah, Dorne is part of the Seven... He was... Why am I getting this confused in my head? Because they get in through marriage, right, Dorne? Like, they only join the Seven Kingdoms through marriage, right?
Yeah, because Nymeria comes over, fleeing the Targaryens, or fleeing the Valyrians. So she travels around and eventually settles in Westeros.
Right.
And then she marries into a house.
Right.
And then she burns all their shit so they can never leave.
Okay. Yeah, because I was remembering that there's the whole, the Viper, what's his name, Oberyn's whole story with, the wife of Rhaegar, Elia Martell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
his
dying.
Sister. Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
That's cool.
But that's a different generation of, Martells.
Yeah.
So we don't know where Dorne's gonna do. We technically don't know what the Iron Islands are gonna do.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the older houses who are led by more seasoned lords or ladies go for Rhaenyra because they remember the oaths they swore, but the newer lords kind of don't remember and they don't know her. So
but if Game of Thrones battle strategy is anything to consider, then Rhaenyra has a really strong upper hand in this war because she has the North and the Vale, and likely going to get the Riverlands. And we know that the North and the Vale are stronger or are capable of overrunning all of the other armies put together.
Right.
Because they did it during Robert's rebellion.
True.
So if she can grab the Riverlands and then somehow kill Vhagar, then they're gonna win. Like, Vhagar is the only barrier to their success.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
But Vhagar is currently in King's Landing. Like, they showed him coming in.
And then there's also a story about Aemon and the Baratheons. Like, he has to marry one of the daughters, and then he's like able to choose between which daughter he wants. And then but it's never revealed which one he picks. But I don't think that's even like referenced at all in this episode with the connection to the Baratheons that they have.
Except he was sleeping with that one lady. But I don't
think that was a Baratheon, though. I think that was just a random prostitute.
Yeah. Some random,
But Aegon, despite having like these good moments, he also has his childish moments, with one being like his inability to think of anything else but wanting to strike Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he is very pro-war, where even Rhaenyra is like, maybe we can work this out in a different way, or she was, except for the fact that she wants Aemon dead. But outside of Aemon's death, like, they're both pulling back from the idea of total war. Alicent's trying to pull back from total war. Otto's trying to pull back from total war, and even Rhaenyra is not pushing total war.
But they have the secondary characters like Aegon, like Matt Smith's character, that are
Daemon.
really like Daemon, like Kristen Cole. They want a war, and they're generally, well, except Daemon's crazy, but like the younger characters, I think, don't understand how bad and awful it can get. Well, the older characters,
and even Rhaenyra, I mean, even Alicent's is more self-motivated, where she's just like, I don't want to kill Rhaenyra, which is interesting because I would have been. Do you think we would have been past that? Like, do you think at this point, like, once you started banging her dad, like the idea of you guys being friends probably would have been like, this is not gonna work. Like, there's no way that this is gonna happen.
You're right, because Alicent is technically Rhaenyra's stepmom, so.
Yeah, like, and no one likes their stepmom.
No. I don't know. I don't have a stepmom, so.
Yeah, me neither. It's just what I hear on Disney.
But if I had a stepmom, actually, I would probably.
That's just what I hear on Disney Channel.
Oh, yeah.
But Allison, since we're talking about her, still has that weird freaking relationship with Lars Strong. And
who knows? Laris knows that Allison is sleeping with Kristen Cole.
What I like about this, and what I kind of just thought about, is Allison keeps getting Rhaenyra's like spare parts. Like, she gets Kristen Cole, and then she also gets the lesser Strong. Like, she doesn't get anyone in her corner who's like a top tier. Like, she even gets.
Do you consider Rhaenyra having her dad first? Do you consider Viserys to be floppy second?
Yeah. I mean, Allison was Viserys already had a wife with the Veil. So, actually, the Veil is in a really interesting position with the Aarons, because wasn't his wife from that?
Yeah.
His first wife was from the Eyrie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very interesting how they're going to work this out. But Alicent and Lair still have their awful relationship that's just so uncomfortable. Who knows how many feed pics Alicent had to sell Lars to do this.
Unnecessary for them to put that little fact in. Like, when I saw that, I was just like, what are the writers doing? Like, why? What does this add to the story? What does it really add?
Nothing.
I mean, it shows that
Lars, in exchange for likely thousands of feet pics, has gone through, interrogated, and murdered all staff in the castle that he believes is untrustworthy or unsupportive to the cause. Which is interesting because he himself is not super supportive to the cause because he wants Otto Hightower removed.
Because he went up to Aegon after that disastrous meeting and was like, hey, Viserys was weak. Do you want to be weak? Yeah. Because you're coming off as weak by listening to Otto, even though Otto's advice was like pretty sound.
So, like, is the goal, we assume that his goal is to be named Hand of the King, but that does not go as well as he hoped because he gets passed over for Cole, who we'll talk about when we start talking about episode 2, because Jesus, what an episode.
Is that what Larry's game is? He wants to be Hand? Because I don't even know what he wants.
I have to assume, right? Because, like, why else is he pushing for Otto to be replaced, right? Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens. But let's see. We talked about Aegon hearing the pleas, trying to be good, but like not doing well, like not able to do it. Although he does assent to one thing, he overrules Otto on one thing, which is the strengthening up their military specifically for the Scorpions, which I had always thought was a Game of Thrones only era time weapon, but apparently they were like, I must have misunderstood that because apparently they've just been in storage for 100 years because dragons didn't fly around.
Right.
But
it introduces that really interesting character, the blacksmith, who has a really great plea about fun.
And that's always been one of the more interesting parts of Game of Thrones as like a fantasy series, is that they get into the like real world logistics of war. Like, oh, we need the iron, but because of the war, because of the blockades, we can't get the iron from this area, from Essos, and we need to do, like there's a lot of economic background stuff going on. We even like see the family of farmers with their daughter that's sick and they can't afford to get salt, and it's just like very
realistic.
You see, I think it does a really great job, and maybe it was a little bit of padding, but I think it does a really great job in showing just how little the small folk actually care about this whole conflict. Like, they just want things to be affordable.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's how I feel. I don't care who, well, I do care who's president, but I mean, I'm just living my life,
Yeah, it's like they're just trying to get by, and Aegon will later do something incredibly stupid, but like very understanding for being like, how old is he supposed to be? Like, how old is Aegon actually supposed to be in the show? 16-ish?
How old? Aegon. 20.
Oh, okay. At 20, you need to be a little bit better. Never mind. I was going to give him a pass because I thought he was still a teenager, but him killing the rat catchers was not good.
Oh, no, that was bad.
But actually, let's get into the rat catchers and everything that leads up to that. We actually get a return of Lady Misery, or Missaria, who is she's captured, and then she is revealed to have been the person that helped them find Aegon, helped them do all of these things to help the Greens, because it was a financially profitable investment for them.
Right.
And Daemon is going to use this connection that he had with her in the past to get a set of names for him in order to get revenge for Lucerys, which this to me, and I think it is the correct interpretation, but maybe I'm wrong. He does not care about Lucerys. I don't think he cares that much about Luke as a person, but he wants to use this as like a justification for revenge, because even in season 2, it talks about how like the only reason he believes he wasn't king is because Viserys was scared of him.
Right.
And so like this kind of shows a little rift in like his ideologies, where he is very much whatever it takes to better my position in this world. And if I believe I can weaken the Greens, therefore bettering my position, because, you know, if Rhaenyra is queen, then I get to go to a higher level, or like, I don't know. I understand this whole like her not trusting him later, because this is crazy what he does. But he sneaks back into King's Landing, which this reminds me of the nonsense that happened in season 8 with Tyrion being snuck into King's Landing to go talk to Cersei, and I'm just like, come on, you don't recognize Daemon Targaryen? Like,
yeah, but Daemon has like a reputation because he was commander of the City Watch.
Right.
He knows places. Like it makes sense for Daemon, in my opinion, because Daemon is so sneaky and wily that he knows his way around that city.
Yeah, I guess he hangs in the underground, so like people are more connected to him than they are to anybody. So like when they're just like, "Oh, we hear you don't like the Greens," and then the person's like, "Yeah, F them," like just very much,
Greens, yeah,
just very much like on this whole we hate them. And he hires the assassins, Blood and Cheese,
which are not named that. Only
they're not. Yeah. But, you know, whatever, we know who they are.
Yeah, we know.
And they're hired with the original goal of killing Aemon Targaryen.
Yeah.
And that does not go according to plan, because Daemon gives them a secondary option.
I don't know why he would give them that secondary option.
Me neither. That's what I was going to... It's like, if I came all this way, gave you all of this gold to kill this person,
you
need to kill that person.
Not, oh, we couldn't find them, so we had to kill the 2-year-old. Like, no, don't give me that shit.
Like, go back and try again.
Yes,
like,
do it again. What's the teacher thing? Try again. We'll do it again until it's done right. Like, I don't...
Like, leave? Okay, you weren't able to catch him this night? Oh, guess what? You have to set rat traps every day anyway. So, like, try again. Oh, didn't work Monday. Let me try to kill him on Tuesday. Like, what are we doing here?
In what world is a 2-year-old equivalent to Aemon?
Yeah, it's just... One of them is the actual thing holding King's Landing defenses together.
And the other
one is a baby.
Like, yeah, and the other is a baby. Like, the other one is a baby. What are we doing?
But that... Okay. I didn't so much have a problem with the dialogue and them sneaking into the castle. I had a problem with them kicking the dog, but whatever. I understand that you were saying that you felt it was more like a buddy cop comedy. It did feel
like a buddy cop comedy. Like, I don't think there was suspense there.
I think it was fine. I mean, the main issue I have is with the choice, with Helena's choice and the way that was presented. I think that is not great for book readers who knew. I actually think, though, I'm actually going to look it up right now, because how did the general audience receive that?
Not well. I don't think people like that at all, because the way George R. R. Martin wrote it was, well, first of all, Alicent and Helena were both there. And they were both held at knife point, and the children were awake and crying. And
so, general audience reaction for House of the Dragon Season 2, has been a 90%.
Is this for episode 1 or episode 2? Because episode 2 was fantastic. Episode 1 was good.
I think it's for episode... I think it's for both, actually. Yeah.
Either way, the thing about Blood and Cheese is like the suspense, the dread, it just wasn't there for me. I wasn't terrified.
Mm.
And
I agree. They weren't the scariest duo.
I mean, have you ever seen the meme where it's like, parents always say they don't have a favorite, but they do, and everybody knows it? Imagine having that in real life. Having your brother, like, you need to pick between your 2 kids. Then they pick, and they kill the other one. And you have to live with that knowledge for the rest of your life. Oh,
because
I'm the least favorite.
Is there a child discrepancy? I'm trying to remember. Like, there was only 2 babies there, right? But in the original, there's 3. In the book, there's 3, right? Because there's 2 sons and a daughter. There's
the twins and then a son. That's 2. And Allison picks the 2-year-old, Magor or something?
No, Helena. Helena picks it.
Helena picks the younger 2-year-old to die because she, I guess, assumes that the 2-year-old won't remember. And then they end up killing the older one, like in front of them.
Which I think was, I don't know. Game of Thrones was not necessarily one to shy away from moments like that. So I'm wondering why they...
With the PG-13 route?
Yeah, why did they pull back? I mean, listen, we still heard that head being sawed off, so I don't know if I'm going to say PG-13.
The audio, that was insane!
Yeah, I hated that audio.
Unnecessary.
I am wondering why they pulled their punch on that in particular. Because, that is so much more damaging to be all like, you are alive because your mother wanted you to die.
Her.
And... we killed the son that was more important to the throne, and now you're, just a backup that they didn't even care about, So, it's really messy. And I think that,
it's weird that they shied away from that.
Yeah.
Because Game of Thrones is not one to shy away from the death of the children, the torture of the children. I feel like I don't know, that's why it's on HBO. So it was a very, Disney decision for them to have the choice already picked out. I also think, this is a hot take, I think Helena folded pretty easily.
Yeah, Helena did not. I mean, she was like, here, have my glasses. Here, have my necklace.
My necklace, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I mean, I get it. The first step is, the bargaining, but where is the, no, I'm not going to give it up, or,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they did, we'll kill both of them. So, make a choice.
The true horror of that scene lies in the fact that Helena walked in on her mom having sex. That's the true horror in here.
It's bad. But okay. So she's supposed to go absolutely crazy. Her mind is supposed to break after this event, or at least, I don't know.
Understandably.
It's weird because the book isn't told like a story. So it's just like a chronological, a culminations of events in just a book that you read as one-offs. But she is supposed to go mad from this event, and I didn't get madness from her. I got distraught, I got very sad, very sick, in the start of episode 2. But I was expecting her to just be gone, talking in riddles, not making sense anymore, I wasn't. She still seemed like there was a person in there.
Yeah.
And from my understand, from when I was reading it in the book, I had the understanding she's no, she's gone. She's not even in that body anymore. She's just she is not even a human being anymore.
I mean, we don't know what they have planned. Maybe they have something more planned for her. Something worse, God forbid. But we don't I'm assuming that they've I don't think they want to mess this up like DNC did. I assume that they have a plan and there's a reason why they did it like this. But we won't know until we see the rest. So.
But that is the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
Then we got the better episode, which is, we didn't talk, I mean, you hinted at it, but then Helena, distraught, runs into Allison's room to try to get some comfort from her mother or something.
Of safety, I think.
And then just, Kristen Cole, come on, man.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
I mean, I, for one, am happy that she's finally getting some consensual hot sex. But from Kristen Cole!
Oh my
Girl,
god.
do better. I
dude.
think Viserys ruined her, like, I don't know.
Standards.
Her standards. Her standards are just in the toilet. She's out here showing Beatrix Stellaris, giving it up to Kristen Cole. I mean, girl, you could do so much better.
Kristen Cole. You want to know what's sad? Is like Kristen Cole is like a 2-episode run of being like the greatest character in the show.
Yes.
Like he had a 2-episode run, and then just completely trash. He's like bottom tier character now. Like no one likes him.
He's an L.
And I don't know. So like obviously that's the point of this character, but I don't know if like nobody likes him in the way that like nobody liked Littlefinger, like where people did like Littlefinger for how much they were supposed to hate him. Like
no, Kristen Cole is like a rug. Like he's not like you can't respect him. And I think he also knows he's a rug, and that's where his anger comes from. He's angry that he's a failure, and he knows he's a failure.
All right. Well, not to Aegon. Aegon respects him. Aegon thinks he's the greatest thing that's ever.
Aegon is 20, though. Yeah. Aegon is 20 and dumb. Like,
Aegon thinks he's the coolest guy in the whole world.
Well, I mean, he could be his stepdad, so.
But let's start talking about episode 2, which starts with some marriage troubles between Rhaenyra and Daemon.
Yeah.
That scene was actually heartbreaking to me.
Really?
Like, the way that Otto was, like, spinning it to make it so, like, oh, look how much of a villain Rhaenyra is, look how terrible she is, look at the way she killed this baby, all for her revenge.
Yeah.
And then Rhaenyra just having to sit with that in the small council meeting, and that moment where she's just like, why would they think that I would kill a baby after my own son was taken from me as a result of this war? And then Daemon's just like...
and then she looks, the moment where she just turns and looks at Daemon, and the lights click. Priceless. Oh my god.
I felt so bad for her in that moment because, like, I don't know. I think Rhaenyra is like desperately trying to grip on to something that is like foundational for her, something that can provide her some like stability in her life. You know, like I think what she wants from her small council is another like season 1 moment where Viserys got out of bed and walked down those stairs to take the throne and reaffirm her as like you're the like she wants that from somebody, and nobody can give that to her.
Right, because it has to come from her. I mean, she's the rightful queen now. Nobody can tell her. She has to tell herself, like, I am the queen and I belong and I should be the one.
That's so what I find interesting, though, about Rhaenyra as a character is that she is supposed to be, like, a foil for 2 characters. Okay. Like, Rhaenyra herself is her, right? But then she is also the foil to Aegon, because she is the monarch of the Blacks, while he is the monarch of the Greens.
Yep.
And then she's also, as a mother, a foil to Alicent, because of the way that they treat their kids. So it's interesting how she fills 2 roles. And, like, we see the way that she's grieving, but trying to hold herself together in that moment, like, trying to make the best decisions for her campaign moving forward. Like, how are we going to spin this? What are we going to do to try to make this seem like it is not as bad as Daemon just made it? Like, even the way that she's just like, Daemon needs to figure things out on his own. I don't know if he's coming back to his daughter. Being like, I don't know if he's coming back. He needs to figure things out on his own. But, like, she doesn't take it out on the daughter of Daemon. Like, it's not like she takes her anger out and like yells at Daemon's kid, or I guess her stepkid, being like, oh, your father's an idiot and I hate him and all. Like, I just very much,
by the way,
just like very much like he needs to figure things out on his own. And I think that that's interesting because when you look at the way that Aegon was handling it, just yelling at everybody and smashing things up with anger and
destroying the Ferrises.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. It's a little kitty.
His miniature. His Lego set, as I've heard it called.
That he worked so hard on.
He spent his entire life building that.
Life gone and just like that. Which, I mean, is also, I mean, the Ferris spent for like building out King's Landing and the Seven Kingdoms, and Aegon's here with it.
Right.
Like a equal... I don't know.
But what did you think about that conversation? I guess we hinted at it earlier.
I thought that conversation was very powerful. Allison had a discussion with Otto in the first episode about how, like, the kids won't respect me, waiting until Aegon's bored with ruling. That whole conversation was just kind of a snooze fest. But this conversation with Rhaenyra and Daemon was just so powerful. And it really kind of leads me to this whole realization of like, how does anyone not support Rhaenyra as queen?
Right. They definitely painted the blacks as a much better. Oh, well, I guess there's like a 20-minute chunk of this episode where you're like, oh, I can understand why the small people wouldn't support Rhaenyra and like why people, because, you know, like of the whole, I mean, Otto being a genius, an evil genius, but a genius being like, yeah, we're going to blame it on Rhaenyra. We're going to have a parade, or we're going to have a morning procession.
A parade's a good way to call it.
And just really dampen Rhaenyra's image. Like, I understood all that, but it's like, as soon as Aegon does what he does at the end of this episode, like, all that goodwill is just gone. And like, again, you just like, how does anyone not feel like they lean more towards Rhaenyra at this point? Which I guess is the point.
But I don't like that. I wish they'd made it more of an equal. Like, I want to be conflicted. Like, I think with Game of Thrones, I felt very conflicted. Like, I will read a Stannis chapter, I'm like, yes, Stannis the maddest. But then I read a Daenerys chapter, and I'm like, yes, Daenerys. And then I don't have that with this.
I think that I think what they're trying to do is very similar to what they did in Game of Thrones. Like, for example, in what was the battle? The Battle of the Blackwater, right?
Okay.
You don't care about the Lannisters. Like, you should be on Stannis' team as he's attacking because you hate Cersei, you hate Jaime, you hate Joffrey, you know, like everything about right? But the saving grace of that side is you don't want Tyrion to die. And Tyrion is on Tyrion is on the front side, right? On the front lines. Whereas, like, you know, you might not care that much about Stannis because Stannis has been a weirdo. He killed his brother. He did all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But you're introduced to smaller characters that you like Davos and you know, like you don't want them to. So it's like that was always the like brilliance between of George's writing, where he's just like, I'm gonna make you hate a group, but there will be one member of that group that you want, that you love, and like that person's constantly gonna have to face danger because of that, and you'll want them to make it out of it. So it creates this tension, even though you don't necessarily care about the big players, unless you're like me and you think Tywin is one of the best characters ever. But like,
not even the show could ruin him.
I didn't want Tywin to die, but
murdered in a toilet. No,
but that's what they're trying to do. You know, they're trying to make like Aegon sympathetic, and they're trying to make Helena sympathetic, and they're trying.
Helena's sympathetic. But name one of the Greens that you sympathize with is my thing.
I mean, I feel bad for Helena.
Okay,
I felt bad. I guess I don't have to feel bad for him anymore, but I felt bad for Eric.
Like,
I don't have to feel bad for him anymore. That's done.
Well, like, Helena's the only character on the Greens who I actually like, and now she's insane. But the Blacks, I love Rhaenyra. She's such a good leader. She makes great decisions. I kind of like Daemon. I love Daemon's twins. I love all of Rhaenyra's sons. Like, there's so many Blacks who are just really awesome, well-rounded, great people. And then you have the Green, wimpy, stunted, just awful people. And it's like, how can I not support the Black?
I mean, okay, like, here's a character that I think they are trying to do something with Aemon. I think they're trying to put him in the Jaime Lannister mold, where like everyone criticized him for being the Kingslayer and all of these things, right? But then, like, you know, he had that emotional bathtub scene with Brienne, where he's just like, what would you do if you were in this situation? Right? And when he's trying to explain to that prostitute to be like, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill Lucerys. I got angry. I was upset. And then, like, I couldn't control Vhagar. Like, you're supposed to feel something for him. Or like when he's in the house and he's in his room and he realizes that Blood and Cheese were in there looking for him. And he has to deal with the fact that he's just like, no, they were supposed to kill me. And then they took it out on, like, my nephew instead. You know, like, I think they're trying to do something with him there.
I just view him as a washed-out Daemon.
Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities in their characters, and Daemon still comes out on top every time. But I will agree, I do feel something for Aemon. Like, there's not nothing.
And then I even like at the end of the episode, I don't know how they did it because I've hated him since season 1, but I felt bad for Otto. I'm just
Really?
like, Otto is out here. Otto is really out here trying to like keep everything together, and these people keep messing it up for everyone. You know, like,
I mean,
it's
the whole funeral procession was brilliant of him.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to take that and spin that, I mean, poor Helena.
He was looking like a Fox News anchor out there spinning that
Yeah,
information.
he was out here like PR, like he was
like, he's great.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, despite the fact that probably broke Helena even more to be having to be put on display like that.
But you want to know what I'm surprised about? Is I'm surprised, and maybe we'll get it in episode 3, because it's a character who I thought Aegon would have taken out his anger on, but maybe it is because we just haven't had that many interactions with, or if they're just going to skip past it. But I am surprised that Aegon did not take his anger out on Larys.
Because Larys was the one that picked and handpicked the whole staff.
Yeah, like I was, I mean, you know,
Did he even appear in this episode?
He does, because he's the one that questions Blood. And then Blood immediately confesses that, like, oh, it was Daemon who hired me. And then he's like, oh, I'm not going to punish you, but Aegon is going to punish you, kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm wondering if that was just like Larys's way of avoiding punishment, where he's just like, look, I found the person that did kill your son. So, like, you can kill them instead of, like, being upset with me. But I just thought that was going to come back at some point to be all like, you told me to do this. And you said to my mom that all of the people untrustworthy in the castle were gone. And now my son is still dead. But whereas, like, Aegon has reason to be upset and try to, like, deflect blame to somebody else. Because honestly, like, what happened was not his fault. Like, he was just trying to, like, live his life with his friends, which is, like, a normal 20-year-old activity.
Yeah.
Like, who is to blame is Kristen Cole.
Who was
he does not.
He was bad.
And he does not take that well.
Yeah.
At all. Like, he is terrible. Just, jeez. He is awful. He is so bad.
You think Kristen's bad?
Kristen was so bad this episode.
Because he took his, his failure, which is his failure. He was bad when the murder happened. And he took and he blamed it all on Eric.
Right, because, like, it would be...
it.
Which I mean, okay, so I understand it in terms of, like... Actually, no, I take it back. I don't understand it. Because he could have just lied. He's the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, right? So he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. If he knew he was going to go bang Alicent, right? Get another Kingsguard. Say, hey, my duty position has been changed. You're going to stand guard here. And I'm going to go to my new position out wherever, make up something. No one's going to fact check
missionary position, right?
And then you go.
No, I'm sorry. She was on top. Sorry.
But it's just like, why did you not do it? Like, no one could have questioned you, right? Like, obviously Sir Eric was with the king, but outside of Sir Eric, like any other Kingsguard, you could have just been like, hey, duties changed. You're watching the prince's room tonight. Like, I'm going to go to this other position. Or I have been, hell, even like I've been tasked with guarding the queen's room this night or whatever, like, I don't know, cover your bases, but he doesn't do that.
Well, that's the thing about Kristen Cole, which makes him so unlikable, is that he keeps making mistakes. He sleeps with Rhaenyra, and he never gets better, if that makes sense. He never accepts responsibility for what he's done and does better.
He never grows up.
He never grows up. He just goes and he blames Eric for it. And then he goes back and sleeps with Alicent again at the end of the episode. Like, he never learns from his mistakes and does better in the future. And it's so despicable. He just blames other people.
And it's like, you see the projection, like when he's talking about, like, oh, that cloak is supposed to mean something, clean it up, or like all of these things like that he's bullying Eric with. Like, these are things that he's really saying to himself.
Yeah.
But he is yelling at somebody else to do it.
Publicly. Did you see the other people there like, oh, we gotta go?
Which, maybe I don't understand the I don't remember his accomplishments. But if I was like Eric, I would have been like, you know what, Lord Commander? Since this is an act of war, let me go check in with the Hand of the King.
Let me just go check in with Otto, see what he has to say about it.
Like, because we're declaring war, you know, like, because we're going to be doing something that will obviously lead to war. Let me go and check in with someone higher up than you.
Yeah.
Who's just, you know, like, I would have just been like, honestly, real talk, I probably would have just been like, F off. Like, I don't know if I would have, like, I would have done the Barristan
You have
Selmy.
a brother. If someone, if your boss said go murder your brother, you're telling me you wouldn't just go do that.
Yeah,
you would ask questions.
I would do the whole Barristan Selmy, taking off all my oh yeah, like,
I'm a knife.
just be like, I'm gonna take it all, and then I'm gonna sail over to Dragonstone, and I'm gonna be all like, hey, you know what? I made a mistake.
Come take me, Rhaenyra.
Like, I made a mistake. Would you like 2 Erics? 2 Erics for the price of 1? Like,
yeah,
I would have just left him right there. I would have been like, oh, okay, all right. Honestly, I would have been so upset. I would have been like, send me the Night's Watch then. I don't care. Like, I'm not doing this. Or
just ask any question. And I mean, he really did not try that hard.
He got him though, dude. Eric got him when he was like, and where were you, Lord Commander? I was like, ooh.
And where were you, Lord Commander? I was abed.
And he was like, I was at the king's side, which if we're talking about like priorities, I technically still had the right priority. I'm supposed to keep the current king alive.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be in 2 places at once. You were supposed to be there. And if you didn't assign anyone that duty to cover you, then that's on you. Like,
but it's like, I feel like Game of Thrones, it's the feudal system, right?
Right.
Like that, basically you just do what people tell you to do. And you're not supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to do your duty and do what they tell you to do. And I mean, he did it. So.
Yeah. Aegon didn't die.
No. But neither did Kristen Cole. Unfortunately, Kristen Cole is Hand of the King by the end.
Oh my god. But that scene was hilarious. Okay, like,
really?
There is something about Otto calling it a prank that set me. Like, not even a real strategy. It's just like, and you consented with this prank. Like,
oh, poor Otto. Oh my god.
Like, oh my god. I'm upset that it almost worked. That's what I'm upset about. That this dumb strategy almost worked. Like, had Ms. Arya not been there, Rhaenyra would have been dead. Like,
like,
so
I mean,
dumb.
because even she was just confused. Like, when she says to Eric, and then he pulls the sword, she's just like, oh, what are you doing? Like, she's just confused. Like, it doesn't even give her time to react, to call anything.
Like, she was lucky that wasn't Arya out there. Arya would have water danced all over him. It would have been over.
All over them, yeah.
It would have been over. But no, Rhaenyra did not go to, what's his name? Oh my god. I was going to say Dario Naharis, but that's not the right character. The water dancer in episode 1. Syrio Farrell. Yeah, she should have been hanging out with Syrio Farrell, but no. Too busy riding dragons. She got weak. She got soft. You know, she got complicit. She was like, oh, I just have my dragon deal with anything. Didn't learn how to protect herself.
I mean, yeah. I mean, towards the end, I mean, what would you do, though, in that situation? If these two, like, you're getting ready for bed, you're all cozied up, you got your little hot chocolate, you know? I'm not about to, like, but you just can't, like, I don't know.
I mean, when the second Eric came out, I would have been like, I'm out of here. I don't care.
I mean,
like, she was asking too many questions, dude. She's like, Sir Eric? I was like,
what's going on?
Get out of there.
I thought that was very accurate, though. I don't like when they have all these, like, girl power, and then Rhaenyra stands up and fights off. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I wouldn't have wanted that either, because that's not in her skill set.
No,
I'm just saying,
like, her skill set is leading and making decisions and, like, battle plans. Like, it would not have made sense for her to have this, like, girl empowerment moment where she was able to fight off this fully blooded, like, warrior. Yeah. Like, no, I'm glad that she was kind of useless. It wasn't about her, it was about Eric and Eric.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about... Do you think the good twin was going to die anyway? Like, do you think he was so wounded that he was going to die anyway when he killed himself? Or do you think it was like he just couldn't live with himself for killing his brother?
I thought the act of suicide was a bit traumatic, but I've never had a twin before. Oh.
But, like, do you think that it was like, I'm going to die anyway, I'd rather just die with my brother here? Or
I think that's what happened in the book. In the book.
Or do you think, like, he would have been fine had he not committed suicide? Like, I don't feel like he got bloodied up that bad. Like, I think he chose to take his own life because he couldn't deal with the guilt of
it was giving
killing
that
his
vibe.
brother.
Yeah. Is that, like, he was really upset for having killed his brother and couldn't live with that knowledge.
But, like, I would have been like, if I was Rhaenyra, honestly, I would have been like, listen.
Listen. At
If
least
you
die
are
for me
big,
later.
If you are big on killing yourself, okay? If you're going to do that anyway, I want you to go dressed as your brother back to King's Landing.
The double bluff. Oh, that would have been fucking hilarious.
Back to King's Landing. Take, like, we'll paper mache my head or something to make it look like you killed me. Go present it, and then you just kill Aemon right there. Kill Aemon and kill Aegon right there.
If only Rhaenyra had a true warrior's mindset. She could have pulled a double bluff. And
listen, if you are okay with dying anyway, I have a job for you. Okay, I have an assignment for you, a final mission. Go find some wildfire. Apparently, it's in the basement.
Wow, George R.R. Martin, who? Jared Shaw is here, rewriting House of the Dragon as we speak.
That would have been hilarious. Just been like, I'm back from your little prank.
Yeah.
I would have been so mad though. Could you imagine how upset Alicent's Eric would have been if he had come home successful, only to find out that Kristen Cole was Hand of the King now? Oh, he would have been so upset. He would have been like, this dumb plan of you. Right? Yeah, like, this dumb plan of yours earned you the Hand of the King title?
Because he's the one that put his ass on the line. You know what I mean? Why should Kristen Cole get all,
I'm the one that killed her.
Yeah, you should make me Hand of the King, right?
At this point, but like... I'm trying to remember who's the character he reminds me of. Like, Aegon II's whole idea is doing something is better than doing nothing.
Which is the opposite of that Shakespeare. Who's the Shakespearean guy? Hamlet, that does nothing, right? Sorry.
In that way, he actually reminds me of young Jon. When Jon is about to abandon the Night's Watch to go and fight with Robb in the War of the Five Kings. And then, is it Sam? No, it's Sam, Gren, and Pip that are like, and then you're going to do what? Like, and then what?
Single-handedly are going to do what?
Like...
I mean, I think that's what they're getting across. Aegon is a child. He's a child with no discipline. He's not a man. Like, when he's doing a hissy fit and destroying things, it's not giving man. It's giving 12-year-old. It's giving teenager, like you said.
And then Viserys died before he even had a chance to even try to raise Aegon to be, like, a real king.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, how old was Aegon when he died? So maybe that's not 100% true. He had time that he could have raised Aegon. But, like,
I don't understand what happened. Like, I mean, because I think episode 2 ends with Alicent walking in on Aegon just sobbing.
Yeah, that was so strange.
Crying, and Alicent looks at him, noticed he's crying, and walks away.
Just leaves.
And that's the foil between Rhaenyra and Alicent, because remember in episode 1, when Jace was crying.
That was heartbreaking, dude. That was such a good scene. He's just trying so hard to deliver
keep it together,
the message, like, very much, like, I completed the mission, like I did. Dude. Okay. Jacaerys has to get a good kill in before he bites it. Like, I don't
think he does.
I need him to get something. I need him to get one good kill. Like, obviously, I mean, he's not going to kill Aemon. He's not going to kill Aegon.
Maybe he can kill Kristen Cole.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be great.
When they are dueling in the yard, right, in season 1, when, like, Jacaerys is learning how to sword fight and stuff like that, is it Aemon that bullies him?
No, Aemon gets bullied. The one with the pig?
Aemon gets bullied. I'm talking about when they're fighting in the sword yard, right? And then, like, they keep insulting him for being, like, Harwin Strong's bastard son. Yeah. Like, which person... Is that Aegon that's doing that?
Yeah.
That's Aegon that's doing it? Maybe he can kill Aegon. I don't think he will, but...
I just don't understand how Viserys... I mean, Viserys who... I just don't understand how they were so poorly unable to parent Aegon.
Right.
Because Allison, to me, I feel like she mothered Helena, right?
Mm-hmm.
Viserys was able to father Rhaenyra to be a queen. Like we brought him action. So what happened with Aegon? Like that they both just messed up so bad.
And
All right,
like
not ever me dropping all the F-bombs on you.
The other thing I actually don't understand about that is that there's that really good scene at the end of season 1 where Aemon is just like, I'm the one that studies history, I'm the one that studies sword fighting, I'm the one with the most powerful dragon, and yet I'm being skipped over to be king.
Yeah.
And then Aegon is like, I don't want to be king, like I don't have it in me for ruling, right? Yeah. Like, he should have just, okay, granted, I'm looking at it from someone who like, from this top-down objective type view, I'm like, declare for the Night's Watch then.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm going to go to the Night's Watch, and then I'm going to desert the Night's Watch, and then my king brother is going to pardon me.
Oh, interesting.
Like, let Aemon become the king, who would have been better at it, and then, like, you just get pardoned after you leave the Night's Watch, or whatever, or, like, live your life out there, and then...
There's no women in the Night's Watch.
That didn't stop Gilly. That didn't stop Sam and Gilly. That didn't stop the Molestown brothel or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, here's the deal. If you save your brother, I feel like it's the precedent. You gotta save everyone.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like, that's what...
Aemon's not that type of ruler.
But, like, Jon was so certain Robb was just gonna pardon him. Like, the idea of, like...
Even Jon, though, knew once the ideas weren't off, he was like, no, Robb would just be embarrassed of me and ashamed. He might not kill me, he might not behead me, but he would be embarrassed.
Which, who knows? Who knows? Actually, I know exactly what would have happened. They would have just died in the Red Wedding together. There's no way Jon's actually stopping that.
Yeah, that was just...
There's no way Jon's stopping that. There's nothing that can be done. But, we should talk about Game of Thrones again. I miss that series.
Yeah, we can go back. And I want to start from season 8. Is it season 7 or 8?
You want to go in reverse?
Let's go in reverse order. Worst to best. I
cannot. I would cry.
I don't know.
But, okay. So, ending the episode, Otto basically laughs at the idea that Aegon presents that Viserys wanted him to be king. And then he gets removed from his Hand of the King title for the third time?
Third time. Well, I think because Viserys did it.
Viserys removes him.
With Rhaenyra. And then now he's removed again.
I'm not going it up.
But it is, like, embarrassing. I did feel a little bit of pity for him. Because here he is, this older guy who knows a lot about ruling, who's served 3 kings.
Yeah.
And he just got, like, kicked out by a 20-year-old. Who is his grandson?
Right.
I mean, Aegon's out here bullying Grandpa. Like,
yeah, that is crazy. But, like, yeah, so now we're in this very interesting position where we are definitely inching closer and closer and closer to the all-out war because the peacemakers for the Greens are gone. Like, Aegon is not going to listen to his mother anymore, and he is not going to listen to Otto anymore. So now his hand is pro-war because his hand is petty and wants revenge on Rhaenyra. And so I'm very interested in how they're going to try to paint the Greens as decent in any way, because my prediction from this point on, like I said, the books are very much like section by section. We don't know all the intimate details on this, but I think that the way that they're going to portray it is that the Greens are going to be the aggressors for the, at least the foreseeable future, because they are the ones that are now hardened for war, as opposed to, Rhaenyra, who might not want that right away. Like, I think they've both accepted that war is inevitable now, but I think that we're going to see Aegon start it, and it's not going to be good.
No. I mean, both the king and the Hand of the King want war, and they're going to get one.
Yeah. But that has been our discussion. Kind of hard to call this a review, more of just a talk. about
long and looping discussion.
episodes 1 and 2 of Hot D. If this does well, we'll see you again next week when we talk about House of the Dragon episode 3, which is called what? What is episode 3 title? Episode 3, House of the Dragon, season 2.
Second of his name.
No, that's the first one. That's the first. That's season 1. I don't know. I feel like normally they tell us what the episode name is. So I don't know why I can't remember.
He doesn't have it.
Lame. Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out when House of the Dragon season 2 episode 3 comes out.
We'll have to be better on that.
Yeah, we'll be better about it. Well, we won't. We'll just have one episode to talk about, so it'll be a little bit easier.
Okay.
All right. Well, Carolyn, thanks for joining me on this long looping House of the Dragon discussion. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And Carolyn, do you have anything that you want to plug? Like anything that you want, like anywhere you want people to like follow you? Or
if you like this video, I get invited back, so that's gonna be my plug.
Okay. All right. Sounds fair enough. And, I'm going to probably put up like a parental advisory disclaimer thing before this video.
I barely care. I said,
no.
I said,
But I'll just put up some kind of warning where it's just like, this show is rated, whatever. So please don't watch this if you're one of my middle school children that watch my channels for some reason.
Thanks for having me, Jared.
Yeah. Anyway, follow me on Twitter and on Twitch because I'm going to possibly stream games there. I'm kind of thinking about just streaming on YouTube, but we'll talk about it. And more review content is coming soon. I have some reviews where I'm going to revisit the Harry Potter series book by book. And I also have some reviews where I am going to be talking about some manga I've picked up that I'm really excited to share. So if you enjoy, my old review content, the video essays are still going to be out, but I'm going to be adding more reviews to the channel like in between, so that hopefully I can get some more videos out for you guys and boost this algorithm. And until next time, peace.